Thank you for watching my revision of the textbook I wrote to teach homeschoolers world history. A Bible Believer Looks at World History, which I sell on Amazon and Lulu.com. I want to talk about the founding of Rome today. Now, archaeologists believe that people of uncertain origin began settling the area known as Latium around 1000 BC. There, after crossing the Tiber, they mingle with the local population or kill them, depending upon who you read. Then, over time, a few small independent city states developed, the strongest being Alba Longa, lying at the foot of Mount Alban, according to Durant, probably where the Pope's summer home, Castel Gandolfo, exists today. Around 800 BC, a colony of these now called Latins moved about 20 miles northwest and founded Rome. The theory of the origin of Rome is highly speculative, but is given much more credence than the Romans' own traditions. As all written documents regarding its beginning were allegedly burned by the Gauls in the sack of the city in 390 BC, then we are left with the Romans' own explanation or the guesswork of scholars. According to tradition, a large amount of stories and poems, Aeneas, the child of the union between the demon or goddess Aphrodite Venus and immortal man, escaped the burning Troy, an event which we'll discuss more closely in our lesson talks about Greece. After many adventures, brought the Trojan tradition to Latium. There he married Lavinia, daughter of the king, and 8 generations later, their descendant Numitor was the king at Alba Longa. He was overthrown by a usurper or someone who takes the throne, usually by violence or trickery, to which he's not entitled, as in Satan's deceit regarding Adam and Eve. This person, named Amulius, killed Numitor's sons and forced his only daughter to become a priest of the goddess Vesta, also known as a Vestal Virgin, a type of pre-Christian nun. The beautiful daughter, named Rhea Silvia, was then impregnated by the demon or god, however you wish to call it, remembering that the Greeks called their gods demons. Mars, whose statue is one of the ones gracing our Capitol building in Washington, D.C., and their offspring were named Romulus and Remus. Amulius ordered the twins to be drowned, and they were placed on a raft which was carried to land by the waves. There they were suckled by a she-wolf or a shepherd's wife named Acalarentia or Lupa, depending upon whose story you read. When they grew up, they killed Amulius, restored Numitor to the throne, and then went out and built Rome. Archaeology provides no confirmation of this tale. Perhaps there is some grain of truth in it, but most of the ancients ascribed some supernatural origin to their kingdoms. Rome consisted of 7 hills, which were often called 7 mountains. In fact, much later, in the imperial era, it was said that a man of Rome was a man from the 7 mountains. The 3 tribes that lived on the 7 hills, the Latins, the Sabines, and the Etruscans, formed a federation called Septimontium, or the 7 mountains. This is important to remember when reading the book of Revelation in the Bible. The story goes on to tell of how Romulus, in order to secure wives for his settlers, arranged for public games with the Sabines and other tribes in attendance, during which the Romans kidnapped the Sabine women and drove off the Sabine men. The king of the Sabines declared war on and attacked Rome. Carpia, the daughter of the Roman who had charge of the fortress on the Capitoline Hill, from which our Congress Capitol building derives its name, opened the gate to the invaders. She was crushed by their shields in retaliation, and later people gave the name Tarpeian Rock to the site where condemned men were hurled to their deaths. The kidnapped women stopped the conflict due to fear of losing their new husbands if their fathers and brothers were successful, and losing their fathers and brothers if their new husbands were successful. Romulus persuaded the Sabine king to form an alliance with the Latins in common citizenship, so, as the Sabines have been called Curites or Curites, it became later to call all Roman freemen Curites or Curites. Okay, so we'll talk about continue talking about Romulus and then the future kings and things that happened. So if you please click like if you watch the video, and then feel free to make comments if you disagree with something I said. Provide your citation so I can learn from you. Thank you.